Hi, I hope you are fine. Take precautions and be careful. Today I'm going to show you a 2015 science fiction mystery thriller titled Selfless. Damien Hale, a wealthy businessman and millionaire, gazes out big glass windows at his tower residence in New York City. A nurse is getting ready to leave behind him and is gathering her instruments. The millionaire has terminal cancer and only has about 6 months to live. Later, over lunch with his best buddy Martin, they talk about his condition and how he has yet to tell his daughter Claire about it. Damien and Claire don't get along since he was a workaholic when she was growing up and didn't spend enough time with her. Martin believes that if Claire is aware of his sickness, she would forgive him and the two will immediately make peace. The millionaire asks his buddy Martin Ways if he has heard of shooting, and Martin answers no. Damien attempts to phone Claire while in his limousine, but she does not respond. Then he takes out a business card from a company called Phoenix Biogenetic and recalls his interaction with the company's owner, Dr. Albright. The doctor's principal goal in life is to provide a method for humanity's brightest brains to live longer and reach their full potential. He has developed a gadget that allows consciousness to be transferred from one body to another, a procedure known as shedding. The corporation sells new bodies that have been genetically altered to perfection to anyone willing to pay a high price for them. Damien recalls asking the doctor why their service was still prohibited. Albright stated that he asked the incorrect questions. Do you believe you're immortal? After looking over these recollections and debating whether to accept Albright's offer, Damien visits Claire, who runs a non-profit organization, in order to set things right before dying. He offers his daughter money but does not inform her of his condition. She refuses to accept the money because she believes he is duping her, expecting his checkbook to fix all of her problems. Later, Damien is sitting in his office, upset with how things with Claire ended out. He continues to explore shedding in Phoenix Biogenic, desperate for another shot at life. He learns that Dr. Jensen devised the treatment and views a video of him describing the rationale behind it. Jensen wished to liberate the consciousness from the body and allow individuals to exist when their bodies died. But, as Damien is studying and shedding, he begins coughing up blood and faints. When the sickness begins to overwhelm him, he decides to phone Albright and arrange the treatment, when he awakens with breathing tubes hooked to his nose. Albright says that after the swap, he will be unable to contact anyone and that his previous existence would cease to exist. He also tells him to come to New Orleans and openly pretend to die. Damien is on a plane the next day and phones Martin to see if they can have lunch in New Orleans before seeing him. He visits a New Orleans cemetery and buries a curious box near one of the graves. Damien pretends to have a seizure and collapses on the floor at lunch with Martin. Martin becomes terrified and dials 911. Instead of taking the millionaire to the hospital, the ambulance transports him to Phoenix Biogenic. They swiftly begin the treatment by injecting Damien with a needle and placing him in the machine, completely aware. The bright lights and loud noises make him feel even more uneasy. Yet, his perception soon transfers into the new young body. Damien turns around to see his former body comatose and dead. He vomits, shocked and appalled. Albright advises him that adjusting would take a few days, and Damien begins hallucinating. Things begin to distort, and he sees an image of a horse-filled pasture. Damien must now remain in the hospital and undergo training and physical therapy to acclimatize to his new body because he cannot return to his new life. Damien must also study a fictitious biography and go by the name Edward Kidner. He begins to like his new gorgeous self after a brief period of perplexity. Nonetheless, the hallucinations and headaches persist. Albright informs him that his mind has yet to adjust to the new brain structure, so he provides him with medications to aid in the shift. Damien may die or suffer from terrible headaches and hallucinations if he does not take them. In addition, he must remain in New Orleans in order to meet with Albright on a daily basis and obtain his weekly pill supply. Damien, nicknamed Edward, rapidly adapts and soon begins playing basketball in the neighborhood. He meets Anton, who lives next door, and offers to take him out. They go to a bar the same night, and every lady is staring at Damien, who is now a gorgeous young guy. Nonetheless, he is still unaccustomed to answering queries about his life, career, and age. As a result, many believe he's odd. Despite this, Damien settles into his new schedule considerably faster than anticipated. He begins to hang out with his pals, play basketball, sleep with gorgeous ladies, take his pills, go partying, and so on. This new schedule doesn't please him after a time, especially because he can't see his daughter. Distracted by his melancholy, he forgets to take his medicine one day and soon begins hallucinating. He sees pictures of the army as well as a little hamlet with a pumpkin tower. He also sees a woman and her sickly small girl living in the countryside in his hallucinations. Damien believes the hallucination is a recollection since it is so vivid and forceful. Later, he relates what he saw to Dr. Albright, who says it was merely a mashup of his past memories and current emotions to divert his attention away from something else. The doctor provides him with airline tickets to Hawaii and increases his medicine. He also tells him that he saw a sick little girl because he misses Clara and that the Latina lady in his hallucination was most likely a one-night stand from his adolescence. But because Damien failed to inform Albright that the woman was Latina, he suspects the doctor right away. He He realizes something is awry and subsequently searches for the Pumpkin Tower online. It turns out that the precise tower may be found in a little village in St. Louis. In search of answers, he decides to deceive Albright and travel to St. Louis instead of Hawaii. He goes to the graveyard before departing and pulls out the box he buried in it. There are money, paperwork, and credit cards. So he grabs some and makes his way to the airport. One of Albright's men pursues him, but Damien swiftly outruns him and boards a flight to the little village. He arrives at the Pumpkin Tower he spotted a few hours later. He finds a home next to the tower and knocks on the door, yet no one is present. Damien chooses to explore the property, sensing there's more to it than meets the eye, and finds medical bills and bits of a respirator machine inside. More crucially, from his hallucination, he sees an image of Madeline and Anna, the mother and daughter. In one of the photographs, he can also see his new self. Madeline arrives home and holds a gun at him from behind as he is dealing with the unpleasant reality. He begs her to calm down and slowly turns towards her as she falls on the floor in disbelief, since she believed her spouse had died. While he attempts to explain, Albright's men storm the home, knock out Madeline, and attempt to take Damien. His buddy Anton appears, having been a member of the Phoenix Biogenetics, and has been spying on him the entire time. Anton reveals that Madeline's husband Mark consented to donate his body in exchange for money to pay for his daughter's therapy. Damien is taken aback and confronts Anton, who explains why Albright is a killer. The spy then uses a cold-hearted metaphor to inform him that it's reasonable for him to be unhappy since he just bought a new car and discovered it only had a few miles on it. However, even if he is enraged, there is no use in returning to the house since they will kill Madeline and destroy her stuff. Fortunately, the millionaire has a strong moral compass and decides to deceive Albright's guy in order to save Madeline. He walks to the restroom and assaults one of the men there while pretending to take his meds. Mark kills a couple of Albright's men with the assistance of his army instincts, and proceeds to wake up Madeline. Anton and the others attempt to burn down the home, but Madeline and Damien sneak beneath the platform and begin shooting them in the legs. Soon after, Damien murders everyone and flees with Mark's wife towards the automobile. Damien deceives her and poses as her husband, claiming he promised to perform some dirty labor in exchange for Anna's medicine. Both of them set out to save Anna, who is in school and believes Damien is her father. Then she rushes up to him and embraces him, saying that she knew he wasn't dead. Afterward, the three of them arrange a stay at a motel where Damien uses a computer to learn more about Phoenix Biogenic. He discovers that Albright was a Jensen student and also gets the address of Dr. Jensen's wife, Phyllis. He decides to pay Phyllis a visit and learn more about the business. The next morning they drive to the nursing home where Jensen's wife is residing. He pretends to be a student. He is conducting a study on Jensen's work and requests that Phyllis provide him with the doctor's old files and paperwork. Because the elderly lady has Alzheimer's, she trusts Damien and begins telling him everything. When he discovers that Albright pays her weekly visits, he realizes that Jensen is using Albright's body. He requests that Phyllis contact Albright and invite him to come. When the doctor comes, Damien pulls out a revolver and demands more medications. Albright, on the other hand, delivers him a harsh reality. The more pills he consumes, the more Mark vanishes, as do his combat abilities and army training. Without the medications, of course, Damien's mind will fade away and Mark will take over his body. Damien then kidnaps Albright and demands that he transport him to the laboratory. But as they begin traveling across the corridor, Albright's men strike and disarm him, while transporting Damien to a dark car. Madeline appears and assaults one of Albright's guys. Damien beats off the second guard, but as the young couple flees, Anton informs Madeline that Damien is concealing something and tells her to ask him about their daughter's birth date. As Damien and Madeline get into their car, the worried mother insists on pulling over as soon as the coast is clear. She has to clear things up, especially after her conversation with Anton. She inquires about Anna's birthday and other specifics regarding their relationship. Since he is unable to provide any answers, he begins to explain the scenario, while Anna sees their quarrel from the car, wondering whether everything is well. Madeline becomes upset and outraged as a result of Damien's manipulation and the fact that she must disappoint her daughter. She doesn't want to tell Anna that the man who looks just like her father is a stranger. But Albright's men also want to murder her, thus, even though she dislikes and distrusts Damien, she must collaborate with him in order to survive. The millionaire then devises a strategy to enlist Martin's assistance and secure Anna and Madeline. Damien persuades Martin of the truth by presenting facts when they arrive at his friend's estate. Just the two of them are aware. Martin then agrees to assist and plans their escape. Later, Damien attempts to think about how to tell Anna that she will never see her father again. But he begins building new wonderful father-daughter memories with her. While Madeline watches from the window, he teaches her how to swim and they have a great time together, happy. She is drawn to Damien since he is in her husband's body, so she wants to listen to his heart and kisses him. Damien is uneasy, so he begins telling her about his old life and trying to divert her focus away from Mark. He shares details about his connection with Claire, and the two have an open and honest dialogue. Then Damien immediately discovers that all of the mirrors in the home are covered. He is aware that Martin's kid died 2 years ago and immediately suspects that something is amiss. He dashes out to find Anna, who is playing with a small child in a huge kid's room. Damien quickly realizes that Martin took his child to Phoenix and gave him a new body. Martin turned them into Albright, and the murderers are waiting outside to kill them. Damien, on the other hand, confronts his friend and informs him that the tiny kid's body is not manufactured in a lab. That was a genuine person and the kid of someone else. Martin is startled and outraged, so he tries to help them for real this time. He walks Madeline and Anna through the forest to a secure area while Damien drives away in a car as bait. Soon later, he is involved in a vehicle pursuit with Albright's men who are attempting to apprehend and murder him. They all get into a major vehicle collision after shooting and ramming their cars into each other. Damien gets out of the car and double-checks that everyone is dead before heading to the diner to meet Madeline and Martin. Martin, on the other hand, is the only one who comes. He tells Damien how Madeline and Anna outran him in the jungle. They requested assistance from a mystery automobile on the road. They had no idea it was Albright's guys, so they were abducted, and Martin was unable to intervene because they were so far away. Damien also discovers Martin put the Phoenix business card biogenetic to assist him. More crucially, he learns that Martin uncovered the formula for Albright's pills and that he can create them from scratch. Yet Damien begins to question whether he should keep taking medications, especially if doing so is killing Mark. He postpones his choice till later. His objective right now is to save Madeline and Anna. The goal is to go off the pill for 12 hours in the hopes of using Mark's memory to find out more about the lab's location. During his withdrawal, he notices a Mardi Gras float storage near Albright's lab. The next day, he travels to New Orleans and discovers the lab right adjacent to a Mardi Gras storage facility. He sneaks in and assaults a couple of guards while no one is looking, but he notices 2 new corpses in the chamber where the machine transfers consciousness. Albright comes unexpectedly behind a glass partition. He sarcastically informs Damien that Madeline had the ideal body type for a new customer, and that Anna's organs will not be squandered. Damien becomes enraged and fires at the glass separating them when 2 of Albright's men emerge and disarm him. His body will now be utilized as a fresh vessel for Anton's mind before entering the machine. Damien discovers a gunshot and consumes it without being seen. Anton and Mark's bodies are the first to awaken. Albright begins questioning Anton to learn his identity. He sends him on a mission to murder Madeline and Anna once he is convinced. As Anton reaches the room where they are staying, he murders the guards but saves the mother and kid. That was actually Damien and Mark's bodies all along. The 3 of them begin to flee and fight off Albright's men. They soon find themselves in a chamber separated from Albright by a glass wall. Damien informs the doctor that he diligently followed all instructions before to the first surgery. By ingesting a bullet, he remembered that the metamorphosis will not work if there is metal in the bodies. He was able to stay in Mark's body. Albright believes Damien will not murder him since he is the only one who possesses the pill recipe. Yet he is unaware that Martin has broken the code. Damien burns the torch-wielding doctor. Anna and Madeline flee the lab and travel to a secure location. Martin discovered it for them. On the other hand, Damien does not appear. Instead, he visits Claire. He pretends as her father's friend and begins to open up to her. Damien regrets not spending time with Claire as a youngster and expresses his admiration for her. Then he hands her a note and walks away, but not before one more look out the window at her. Damien wakes up in a hotel room the next time we see him. He is perplexed and discovers a video of himself on a computer. Damien, it turns out, is no longer in Mark's body. The millionaire decided to stop taking the drug and let Mark take control, giving him back the life that had been stolen from him. Mark is taken aback, yet he is overjoyed. He then travels to visit Madeline and Anna, who have relocated to a lovely tropical island. Be sure to subscribe and enable alerts to see more videos like this. Thank you for taking the time to watch.